Hi, it's Kaisha McCrae. I'm excited to share that I have a new radio show, and it is Growing Perspectives with Kaisha. I invite you to listen in and join us. We will have guests that will share with us their successful career transitions and their growth. We're going to have stories, we will share resources, and we're going to have a great time. So once again, listen in to Growing Perspectives with Kaisha, and you can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Kaisha McCray.
Welcome back. This is Kaisha McCrae, and thank you for listening to Growing Perspectives with Kaisha. I'm excited to be with Mike King today. Mike, this is Monday. How is your day starting?
Today is super. I always talk about we're back out onto the battlefield of good business. We're here Monday. We're kicking the week off right. We're kicking it off with Kaisha.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to be with you. And I have a few things I'd like to talk about with you today. I love to hear about taking risk, taking chances in your career. If you had to think back to maybe one or two of the biggest chances or risks you took on yourself in your career, what were they and what made you decide to move forward?
This radio thing was it wasn't risky because I didn't jump into it that way. I think one of the biggest risks was going to the Army. I always wanted to be in the military. I wanted to go. I didn't have any idea really how it worked. Right. And I went and I found my place there. I found, people from different areas, other places, and we sort of grew as a team. And I liked that. And you start to see the rewards, people just working through things. And it taught me how to go from different situations and to make things work.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how long were you in the military? How many years?
So I was in it first for 5 years, got out, was out for about 2 years. And I missed being in. And I went back in. I stayed another 7 years and got out. And then the Army called me back and said, "Hey, we're having this party in the Middle East. You're invited." And I said, "No, thank you." And they were like, "No, this isn't a request. This is showing back up again." And so I was in the reserves and I went back altogether 20 years and almost 21 years.
That's impressive.
It was good.
That's awesome.
Hey, plus I found me a wife there.
Oh, that's
43
good.
years ago.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's exciting to hear how taking that chance allowed you to continue to grow, and you went into an area you really enjoyed, and you served 3 different times.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
You grow because and especially back in those days, you didn't know where you were going to. You didn't know. We didn't have the internet, and you would just go and you'd show up to a place, and that was it. They told me and my wife, "Hey, you guys are going to this place called Baumholder, Germany." We didn't know what was there. We'd never heard of it. We threw our bags in the back of a pickup, and this guy drove us there.
Wow, that's
exciting. It is exciting, and you learn. It helps your perspectives. It helps you grow because all of a sudden you have to maneuver and understand this new place that you're at.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I often think about that sometimes in our careers, we have similar opportunities. We may go to an event, we may meet someone we've never met before, and we have to quickly adapt to the situation, the people, the room. And those skills are precious to have because we never know when those instances can come up, not sending us to Germany, but going to a different meeting or having to speak in front of a group. So being prepared is really important.
So I've seen you in speaking in front of rooms. You're natural at that.
Well, thank you.
You're a natural at also working the room.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me, that's a real struggle. That's speaking in front of an audience. Oh, I'm dreading that. And I'm dreading when I walk into the chamber lunches. Now, I know a bunch of people. You know a bunch of people.
Yes.
It's still something for me when I get ready to go in. They're like, "Oh, because I'm trying to grow. Oh, this is a big time growth from years ago because I've sort of learned. But you talk about and learning and learning a room and moderating what it takes for you. That's growing, and you changing where you are in life. You're changing your position.
Absolutely.
You're growing your perspective.
That's
You're
correct.
looking because now sometimes you need somebody to help you.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
might be out there just like wandering in the wilderness by yourself.
Yes, that's interesting. But once again, you're listening to Growing Perspectives with Kaisha. And I'm
We
talking
gotta
with
get
my
that. You
kid.
know what? Because I've had some challenges
What?
with shocking, shocking. It's growing,
Growing. Yes.
and there's been times that I was saying changing.
Yes,
There's a difference between growing and changing.
absolutely.
Sometimes you might be changing not for the better.
Absolutely. All change is not good. And all change is not growth.
But
So
now
growth.
growth,
Yes.
how did you come up with that name? Why am I interviewing you? It's like really quickly.
No.
How'd you come up with that?
Growing Perspectives was a name that really came to me. And that night, I see Mike is looking at me a little unusually. How did that come to me? So I am a Christian, and that name really came to me. It was divine intervention. So I was led to name my company Growing Perspectives. So that was the name that God gave me for my company. And I stuck with it. I wrote it down, and no other names came to me. And I've been moving forward ever since.
How long was it from the time you wrote it down to the business launched?
Oh, goodness. Before the business launch, maybe 6 months.
Okay.
Maybe 6 months. I did not wait too long after I had the name.
You were going to be obedient.
Yes, I was going to be obedient. And I think I already had the idea and was waiting on a name. And once I had that, I had enough to get started.
Okay. So if somebody were to ask you, is this a faith-based business? What would you say?
I am a Christian, and I operate in my faith all the time. So my business is not, my business is for all. I'm operating from a faith basis, but it's not strictly only, faith-based.
It's the roadmap. It's the guiding principle of your.
Absolutely. It is a guiding principle for my business, and I service all.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So I know, Mike, you just started asking me some questions, and they were fantastic. So I want to ask you, let's talk about mentors, and let's talk about role models. They're still important today in our careers. And I would say most people have mentors or had a mentor. If you think back in your career, and even now, who are some of the mentors or role models that were really important to you as you continue to grow, evolve in your career?
So I'm going to go all the way back. One, my mother and father were both, they were characters. They were business people. They were business people, but my dad ended up when he ended up working for the sheriff's department in Philly, and my mom became a social worker after they had just done the entrepreneurial thing forever and ever when I was growing up. But the idea was they understood business, but it wasn't just strictly the business, how to make money. They were the people in the community that people came to. And my dad didn't know how to do anything, but he knew the person. And he had been an orphan, so he really didn't come from anything. And my mom came from, so she was always kind of like molding him and be like, hey, take some of that right there. And you can mold it and it can be used for good. So the idea of learning business, and I never was the guy who always wanted to be the business guy. I was, I wanted to be a doctor and going in the Army, I did medicine. I was a medic, so I understood. So I liked that part of it. It was only years later that the business stuff started popping out of me when I started learning, okay, so that's what my parents were talking about. This radio business, when I came to that, Bill Eastman was the guy who was running a radio station, and he was the first guy who gave me a chance. But the person who really helped me and had me understand this was a guy named Bo Jackson. Shout out, and not the Bo Jackson from the football player, Bo Jackson, not that
No,
guy.
not that. Okay.
No, this is
another
Bo
Jackson.
this is the Bo Jackson straight out of Tappahannock.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
so he worked at the TV station with me, and so he had gone to Norfolk State, and he taught me how to be in the understanding of this media business, because he had said, and he was my manager, and he was 37 at the time. I think I was 57 or so. But he had said, I've been working in media, radio and TV every day since I graduated from college. So he knew that part of, he taught me the principles of it at a TV station about how radio works. And so I just turned that into it. And finally, also, I learned a lot of this on conservative radio, where it wasn't the place that I was that guy on the conservative side,
Right.
but I understood how to stay on radio, to pay for radio, to have sponsors like you and other folks who give me the flexibility to talk about whatever it is I want to talk about. We could go into whether and turn this into a faith-based show, and ain't nobody going to say anything.
Right.
Why? Because they say if it pays, it plays.
Got it.
That's the biggest sign of capitalism that goes. We don't care, basically, unless you are saying something, you're in there cursing or using foul language.
Right.
Short of that,
Right.
everything is fair game because you're paying for that time. And so that was the combination of that right there turned into, which is this Mike King Biz, the radio media thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I heard you say taking a chance. Someone took a chance on you, and you had your different mentors. And when I think back in my career, I'm very thankful of the different people that took a chance on me. And I'm looking at one right now, Mike King. You did that. You took a chance on me. And I like to tell people that I meet and clients that, that you do have to bet on yourself. We get different opportunities, and we do have to step out sometimes outside of our comfort zones to pursue our interests and things we want to do to grow in our careers. So when you think about anybody else outside of family and your first mentors, is there anybody in, I'm going to say the media, maybe celebrities that you've looked at, you've seen them with their business walk or professional walk where you thought, this is a good example for others to just observe and learn from? If you had to name a few people, who would they be?
So I don't know, a lot of people may not know Byron Allen.
Yes.
So, I mean, did Byron Allen ever show that anybody liked? They were like the corniest shows. They were always on. They were on late. It was never like he had the show. And all of a sudden you see Byron Allen's a billionaire. Yes. And you wonder, how'd he do that? Yes. So he used the leverage of power of the media. And so I like the way that he operates. Also, I really like the way that LeBron James operates.
Awesome.
Because when he lifted himself up and he took his, as they were going to say, his crew with him,
right,
and everyone questioned whether he needed to go get somebody with some real skills who had some understanding, some credentials, and use them to guide his career. But what he did was he positioned his friends as guys who go learn that over there, you go learn that over here, and we get back together. And now you see the culmination of that. It's not just him.
That's correct.
And I look at other people. So it's him. He positioned his friends to win. I look at Jay-Z. When you start looking at people who didn't come from things and you had to manufacture everything, when he says, yo, you know what? How many billionaires come out of my house? Awesome. Me, Beyonce, LeBron James, Kanye West.
Yes.
So these people were billionaires. Well, Kanye, then he kind of stepped off, but still, he was. So that's a powerful statement about having your friends. Rihanna's another one. You start looking at, what can I do to empower my friends?
That's awesome. So you're listening to Growing Perspectives with Kaisha, and I'm having a wonderful time talking with Mike King. He just shared with us a few examples of people that we may have heard of and some we may not have heard of, such as Byron Allen. And I asked him, what are some people in the media, celebrities that are doing great things in business that he really admires, how they've grown.
Here's
what they're
another one that
doing.
I love right here.
Sure.
Warren Buffett.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing. I mean, you could be rich and be one of the richest people in the world, and everybody falls all over you and everybody knows you.
Right.
He has the best game going. I'm rich. I go to do things that I want to do, and then I go back to Omaha. I don't need to be out there all the time doing, soaking up all that. I can have an impact from right back here and making a phone call or opening a door for a person without me soaking up all of the sunshine.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So remind us the key lessons that you said Warren Buffett shares with us around success, and LeBron James about supporting others, your circle, and Byron Allen. If you had to wrap up those 3 points, what are takeaways that we need to hear?
One of the things, you're going to have to bet on yourself because nobody is going to do that. And that's the thing that we've talked about before.
Yes.
Taking care, you can go places alone. You can leave early, but, I can leave earlier than you and we're going to drive to California. You can wait, but you're driving with 3 people. And you know what? When I get tired, about Kentucky or Missouri, you keep going.
That's right.
Because there's power in numbers.
Absolutely.
And also, so
Absolutely.
with the whole, whether it's Jay-Z or LeBron James, it's surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded. They don't have to be yes men and yes women. They challenge each other, but they have that desire to win as well, and not win at all costs. There's enough out here to divide that we all can get ours.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But a lot of times I think people miss that. People think they got to hoard everything.
I love what you just said. I've met other professionals and I'm of the same mindset. There's plenty. There's plenty for us all. And there's power in numbers, what you just said. So I think those are great examples. And I'm excited about supporting clients and hearing other professionals' stories and business leaders' stories of how they achieved where they are and what helps them continue to be successful. So as we wrap up today, there's one other thing I would love to hear from you. You talked to us about your role models. You talked to us about people you admire in business and professionals. Now, tell us about the power of words and goals.
Words are currency. So this is the 2023 version, the 43-year married version of Mike. Because I'm not a person who talks to a lot of people that I don't know. I'm really an introvert. And so this is 43 years of my wife working with me about, okay, Mike, because you can come off weird, some of your thought processes may not be ones that everybody thinks of.
Got it.
So that's, so when you look at whether it's the role model or the guiding light principle, that's the one. So my wife is the one because I can, we've had that conversation. I can be more shoot from the hip than the whole detail-oriented person. So you kind of have to be able to have somebody, because it can get to be a little bit this way. But the value of words, the words can get you into places, or words can get you into trouble.
Tell us more, Mike. Tell us more.
Tell us more.
Give us a few examples.
You can have when things can go wrong. I mean, or not talking. And we can go as a parent. I can look at and say, I wish that I had been more talkative with my sons. I didn't come from that time. Dads didn't just sit down and just, and that's what I was, and I was your dad. And crack. Let's do it that way. And you can sort of see maybe some more words would have been better. And that way you can have that conversation. Because you don't know what people are thinking if you're not talking.
That's good. That's good. And I would say, using your example, that same thing holds true when we're out and we meet other professionals. If we're not talking to people, we can't make those connections and relationships and get to know people. And some of those people could be like-minded, just like us, but we need to have the conversations.
We don't know because whenever I would go to the network things, I would commit the cardinal sin of the networking, which is sitting with people that you know and just talking to them. Exactly.
But the same
The
thing.
same thing. It's like, boy, there's my table, and there's 50 other people in there. I'm talking to the 3 people that I know. Why? Because it's comfortable. Another part with this one, this whole entrepreneurial thing, is it's an uncomfortable space.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's the unknown.
Absolutely.
When you think that some people are more equipped, and part of that one is being prepared. You can learn how to be prepared, and you can take the licks from, sometimes you need to be, or you can shoot from the hip, and sometimes you shoot from the hip, you run out of bullets.
Okay.
And you may need some of them bullets later on down the road. That's what the military teaches you.
It sounded very military.
Yes.
When you said it, I was like,
Yeah,
it's like the
there's
military.
discretion in
Yes.
using your firepower.
That's good. That's good. I think those are awesome. Those are awesome points for us to remember, the power of our words. Sometimes we can say the wrong things. Sometimes we don't say enough, but our words are powerful and they help us make connections. They help open doors. And sometimes, unfortunately, it could close doors, depending on how we use it, if we don't use it the right way.
That is true. But now you can help me grow from that way if I'm using too many words or using not enough words. So that's what you do to help a person get out of that place that they're in. Not change. Grow. Because we could be changing
the negative, wrong direction, or addressing something else that really isn't the root of something that you need to improve on. So yes, as a career coach and a leadership coach and a consultant, I can definitely support professionals to address those areas they need to grow in, and so that they can thrive in their careers as leaders and as professionals and small business owners also.
There you go.
So thank you for joining us again at Growing Perspectives with Kaisha. Tune in next week. We'll have more great updates. We'll continue to discuss ways to grow in your career, ways to be successful as a leader. And once again, you can follow me at LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and I am Kaisha McCray. I'm a certified career coach and a leadership coach and a consultant with over 20 years of experience. Look forward to you joining us next week.
Bye. Take care.